Hello everyone, it is Wednesday night, time for another Facebook Live. Sorry, I'm just a couple minutes late. I have been battling a cold and it kind of put me behind on everything. So, if this is your first time, I come to you every Wednesday with something new to make. And then the next week I draw a winner for the card that we make. So last week we made this fun shaker card. And so I will tell you at the end who won that. And then also, after the video is over, then I go and on my blog, sorry, I'm just trying to get everything organized over here. On my blog, I will go put all the measurements. So you don't have to write anything down while you're watching the video. The measurements will be on my blog after this is over. Trying to get my laptop to wake up so I can share this to the group. I go live on my page, but just in case somebody's looking for it in the group, I like to share it there. But we won't wait too long because my laptop sometimes doesn't want to work. All right. Let me get all my pieces over. So this is a technique that I learned. Hey, buddy. A technique that I learned from my friend Kay. She has a technique club every month that I go to. And I learned this technique from her. The cards that I posted today on Facebook are the ones we made in that class. And they were all rectangles. And then I saw somebody else do this shape of it. And I decided to do this instead. With the rectangle one, you can flip the two-sided designer series paper over and make your mind up what you want to use. With this one, you would have to flip them all over. So it's not quite as versatile that way, but I kind of liked it. It was a little different shape, and I thought we might as well try something different. All right, my laptop does not seem to want to wake up, so we'll just let it be. So I will show you how I cut this, because that's the most important part of this. It's not hard at all. But when you're done, you get 3 cards like this. So let's get started. Let's show you how to do this. You want to have 3 pieces of designer series paper. And these are 3 3/4 by 5. Again, all the measurements will be on my blog, so you don't have to worry about writing it down. You're going to stack them all together. And then you're going to take your trimmer and you're just going to cut off a corner. There's no, like the one that Kay did, you had certain sizes. This one, there's no measuring. And then I went over it several times because you want to be sure you cut all the way through all 3. Okay, and set that aside. And then this one, you line up the point, whoops, in the track of your, and then just somewhere in the middle there. Now this one, you're going to want to come from the top to cut because you don't want to try and cut into that point. If you can see that. Let me move it up a little bit. If you try cutting into that point, it might just make it kind of messed up. So again, I'm going to cut several times. Oops. And now you have 3 stacks of paper. So that's why this was called Stack, Cut, and Shuffle. So you've got these all 3 cut at the same time. That's very important. And then you take a stack, and this is a shuffle. Whoops. So I like to just make 3 piles. So 1, 2, 3. And then the important thing is, for the next one, you start on the next one over. So 1, 2, 3. And then this one, you start on the last one. 1, 2, 3. And that way you end up with 1 of each paper that will fit together. So take your stacks. So this makes 3 cards. I'm going to move my stacks out of the way, and then I'll show you how we put those together. Now this cut that I did, they pretty much stay the same orientation. So that's why I was able to use one that had a directional pattern on it. If you did the one that was more the rectangles and you wanted to make it a landscape instead of a portrait card, then you'd want to be sure your paper didn't have a specific direction. But I knew I was okay with this one. All right, and then my sentiment on these. So this paper, sorry, I forgot to tell you. Let me grab it real quick. Is from the Merry and Bright Suite. It's Merry, Bold, and Bright, and like I've used a lot of it. It's really bright colors, and the opposite side of it doesn't have to be Christmas. So like these stripes and polka dots, you could use them for anything. So it's really just the fa la la, the trees. So there's a couple of tree sets, and then the lights, a couple of light sets. Those are really the only ones that are Christmas oriented. And even the green trees could just be, you know, like a forest. So you could use that for birthday, you know, anything. And then the piece I used in the middle is this foil, which is always hard to do on camera. It's Melon Mambo and Granny Apple Green. And so there's the Melon Mambo. So I don't know how this will show up. Oh, not too bad. They're just so reflective that it's hard to... but those are foil sheets. All right, let's set those aside. And then I used Granny Apple Green to mat my papers on, but I'll show you that in a minute. I want to do the stamping first. We just have a little bit of stamping to do. And so this is Real Red, and I just have a scratch piece of basic white. And these are photopolymer stamps. And so they don't have any cushion on them. So it's always a good idea to use your Stampin' Pierce mat when you're doing this. And it also helps, like for these, you can see where you're stamping. It's on that dark background. Now, you don't have to worry about stamping them straight or anything because we're going to cut them out. There we go. That's all our stamping. So I'm going to let those sit for a minute. Because red is always... takes it just a second to dry. All right, let's start putting our pieces together. We don't need this anymore. I like to use my liquid glue for this because you can move them a little bit. So be sure that you get your stack and they will fit together like this. And so this Granny Apple Green is 4 by 5 1/4. Again, you don't have to write that down. It'll be in the blog. So it doesn't matter where you start. I wanted to start with this upper right corner. And I'm using green glue, one, because you can reposition it if you need it to. There it goes. But also because it's easier to get in these corners. Like this little skinny corner down here. I can make sure I get glue in there. And then you just put that in the corner. Just leaving. And then I did this one. So it's got pretty polka dots on the back that you could use for, definitely for a birthday. And they will fit right up against each other. So you just want to be sure that you have it lined up at the top and then butted right up against that one. And then this is our last piece. And it will fit right in there. Whoops. Go up there. Go. All right. We'll just go ahead and do the other two while we're doing this, just so I don't get the pieces mixed up. So again, start with that upper right. That's just the one I like to start with. You can do whichever one you want. And some lights. And our stars. All right, and one more to do. I think with the one we did with Kay, I think it was 4 pieces of paper and you did 4 rectangles, and then it made 4 cards. But this one you're just cutting it in 3 pieces, so you just need 3 pieces of designer series paper. All right. Tuck that one in there. Oh, I don't want it to go underneath. I just want it to be up against it. So I think since we're making 3 cards tonight, next week I'll draw 3 names. And then 3 people will get one of these cards. That'll be fun. All right. So there's all our pieces glued down. And then I've got some ribbon. This is the white, it's like iridescent ribbon. And it is very iridescent. You can kind of see. But I decided we didn't need more color with all of the designer series paper that we had. So just tie this around. And we'll go ahead and tie it in a knot. And then I want to push it up a little bit, I think, and then pull that knot over to the left side so there's room for our sentiment piece. All right, so let's tie our other ribbons. All right, whoop. Still have some glue on my finger. That over to the left, and one more ribbon, and then we'll trim those ends a little bit. There we go. Slide it over. I need to slide it out a little bit more. All right, so let's trim our ends up. You have to have it a little bit longer so you have something that you can hold on to while you're tying your knot. Okay. And then I have thick, basic white card bases. Get my bone folder. Get these burnished. So this is an easy way to make a bunch of Christmas cards at once. All right, so then let's put these guys on our card bases. I'm just going to use my green glue since I have it here and my snail or my Stampin' Seal is about ready to run out. Again, I didn't want to introduce any more color since these designer series papers are very colorful, so that's why I just did a white card base. So 2 more times. Oops. And that kind of ties in the white ribbon too. All right, one more. And we'll get our sentiment ready. And I've already done 2 of the other 2 sentiments. But we're just going to take the sentiment that we stamped in our snips. And let's do this first. we're just going to cut along there. And just leave a little bit of white around it. And these stamps have a little bit of wiggle to them anyway. They're not like a sharp, straight edge. So if you don't cut it straight, that's perfectly okay. And like anything else that we cut out, if you leave that white border around it, then people will see the stamp image more than they'll notice you're cutting. All right, there we go. All that out of the way. Now we're ready to finish putting this together. I did run the foil paper, this is Granny Apple Green foil, through the Snowflake Sky. Hang on, it's right over here. Yeah, Snowflake Sky 3D embossing folder, just to give it a little bit more texture. And with these, I have all my Merry Christmases over here. When I'm putting stuff on foil like this, these little pieces, I don't really want to use liquid glue on the back of that, because if it gets on the foil, it just makes a mess and you can't clean it off. So I'm using glue dots. So I'm just going to put one on each end of the sentiment. And that way we don't have to worry about our foil getting all messed up. Merry, and then Christmas. Oops. I'll have to fold that one over a little bit. Kind of got on the edge of that one. This sentiment, I should have shown you, goes with the stamp set. It's from the stamp set that goes with that paper, so it's Merry and Bright. Let me show you real quick. So that's where, and it has lots of these little sentiments and then some script ones too, and the lights, and then the dies that go with it. Cut out the lights, and then bases for the lights, and then little light strings, and then strings to put the lights on, things for the middle of the lights, stars, little bright, you know, shiny things coming out of the lights. So it's really a fun set. And like I said, that paper is just so bright, and you could use it for lots of other things, not just Christmas. All right, back to our, I have to see which way I want it. Oh, no, let's leave that. Let's do that. All right, Merry. Oops. There we go. And when it gets too long, just tear it off, and it's trash. All our trash over there. Christmas. I hope y'all had a nice Thanksgiving. We had a nice Thanksgiving. My oldest son and his family came over for dinner, and his wife is an excellent cook, and so she brought food too. So there were 4 adults and 2 kids. We had enough people. We had enough food for a dozen people probably, but that meant we had good leftovers later. One of the things we like to do with our leftover turkey is make turkey and biscuits. So I have a homemade biscuit recipe from my mom, and we just take some chicken broth and boil it, put the turkey in there, and then drop the biscuits on top of it, put it in the oven. And my oldest son, who can be a picky eater, loves it. So we had to be sure we did that for leftovers one night so he could have some. But it was nice. We didn't travel anywhere. Well, on Saturday, we went up to see my husband's mom just for the day. But it was like a 3-hour drive up there and then 3 hours back. So not much. All right. Now we are ready to put all these together. So I'm going to use dimensionals, which are hiding over here somewhere. And I'm just going to put one at the top and one at the bottom, because I want it to straddle that ribbon. Oops. So just kind of slide that in there. How fun. Like I said, easy way to make a bunch of Christmas cards. And you can use any paper. This is a really bright paper, but we've got some beautiful, it's like winter meadow. That is gorgeous. That would be pretty. You could also use, there's a, I'm not sure if the snowflake foil paper is available anymore. It might be gone. But you could use any of your papers and it would look totally different, and then just anything for sentiment or, but there are the 3 cards. So I will draw 3 names next week. So 3 people will win a card next week. That will be fun. And then last week's card, the shaker card, was won by Debbie. I think that's her 3rd time in a row. So Debbie, you might want to go to Tunica or something. You seem to be on a roll here. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me again. On my blog shortly will be the measurements for all of these. And I will see you next Wednesday. Bye.